Hello, you're watching New Vision TV News and we are coming to you from the New Vision newsroom. I am Ruth Inaseje. First, we'll look at the news around Uganda, then the news around East Africa and the globe. We shall later have a special report on someone who is thriving out of his talent. Let us take a look at the news around Uganda, where we look at stories making headlines across the country. We start from Jinja district. Now, it was Speaker Rebecca Kadaga's maiden visit to Jinja after illness that saw her taken to Nakasero Hospital in Kampala before being airlifted to Nairobi. Therefore, her supporters arranged a thanksgiving for her at Bugenze Cathedral in Jinja. However, the function turned out different as the people started giving her what to do when she returns to office. The Busoga Decision Bishop, the Reverend Paul Samson Naimahe, asked that the sugar bill be dropped, saying it aims at sinking the region into poverty. He said sugar canes have greatly improved several households in the region, and therefore it was wrong to relocate factories where farmers are freely selling their canes. The service was attended by legislators from the region, ambassadors and cultural leaders from Busoga Kingdom. Let's go to Bukedia district now. Omorotot Bridge, which links Butembo and Bukedia districts that got washed by heavy rains in May 2017. Samuel Kedi, the Butembo district chairperson, said according to the local assessment done by a team of engineers, the bridge needs over 680 million shillings. Kedi says the two districts cannot raise the money, saying the two neighboring sub-counties are allocated 3 million shillings per year, which is less than 5% of the money needed. The destruction of the bridge has also caused a heavy reduction of the revenue. Kedi says they used to get 800,000 shillings from Kayum cattle market every week, but now they get 300,000 shillings because the traders cannot cross with their cows. Moses Olemkan, the Bukedia district chairperson, said lack of the bridge has also affected pupils' enrollment in schools. For example, enrollment at Kabuli Primary School in Bukedia district dropped from 1,340 to 758. Mary Tino, a resident of Kalupo village in Kidologe, said they cannot access medical services from the nearest health facility, Butembo Health Center. News coming in from Arua district. Now, the construction of value addition plant, a component of Arua main market, is underway. Joel Ayita of Joeda Consults, supervising the construction of our main market, said construction started in April and is expected to be completed in December 2019. He says the 8 million project plant will be able to handle 100 tons of cereal crops per day. The crops for value addition include beans, sorghum, millet, maize, and cassava. Now, the plant will have machines for packaging the finished products for easy sale in the main market and for export. Aita says instead of the farmer taking raw products to the market, they will have to take it to the value addition plant for quality product. Construction of the plant is ongoing with foundation for the warehouse, toilets, and office space, while the equipment are being assembled in the factory. Aita says in the next 2 months, the contractor is expected to complete the slab of the plant and the installation will be done. Now, the construction of the value addition will be completed and handed over in December this year, and the handover of the main market will be in February 2020. Let's move on to Masaka district, where at least 252 students of Masaka School of Comprehensive Nursing, MSCN, on Friday received their diplomas and certificates in nursing, comprehensive nursing, and midwifery. However, those who had planned to upgrade to degree status had their hopes dashed when Bara University of Science and Technology rejected the request for affiliation. Now, Masaka School of Comprehensive Nursing meant to enroll out the program in 2018 after getting an affiliate university. Makalanzi, the university principal, explained that they wrote to the university in 2017 expecting a positive response, only to be told to wait. At least 116 students graduated at diploma level in 2017, with many expecting to continue straight to the degree. However, Alex Kakoza, the permanent secretary, says the ministry does not agree that Masaka School of Comprehensive Nursing should offer a degree program now. News from Chibale district. He had complained about chickens straying to his gardens, but the owner did not take heed. Poison seems to have been George William Algati's next option, but it landed him in prison. David Otabong, the Chibale District Police Commander, said Alungat, a resident of Bubango village in Bubango Sub-County, Chibale District, is being held in connection to the death of 37 chicken belonging to Harriet Naguja of the same village. Alungat became the prime suspect because he reportedly disappeared from the village the same day the birds were poisoned. He also had been complaining for some time, including dragging Naguja to the local authorities. Irene Nasasha, the Bubango Sub-County veterinary officer, said post-mortem on carcass on the dead birds confirmed the birds were killed by rat poison. Let's go to Butaleja district. Now, over 200 veterans in Butaleja district stormed the district offices seeking an explanation as to why they are being denied participation in government programs. The veterans, led by Wilson Nabiama, accused district officials of excluding them from government programs such as Operation Wealth Creation. Nabiama said they have on several occasions approached the relevant authorities seeking an explanation for the continued exclusion, but in vain. He accused the political leaders of simply sitting back and doing nothing, yet they are aware of the matter. Henry Keddy, a war veteran, said he has never received his pension since he retired 16 years ago. He said war veterans played a big role in the country, but we are being ignored. He cited the recent Tarehe Sita celebrations where they were abandoned in Toro and had to walk back to Butaleja. He appealed to President Yoweri Museveni to intervene by instructing district leaders to provide them with inputs under the Operation Wealth Creation program so that they can increase their household incomes. The district chairperson, Richard Wire, promised to investigate the matter. News coming in from Iganga district. Now, a successful handling of early grade reading EGR in primary schools in Busoga has prompted Malawian officials to keep learning from the sub-region. According to Moses Wambi, the deputy principal in charge of outreach at the Education Ministry, when the Malawi fact-finding team arrived in Uganda in February, the Education Ministry recommended the benchmark from Busoga because of the sub-region's renowned EGR success story. He said the international interaction was aimed at making the Malawians' EGR get greater heights. Let's go to Buyukwe district, where a Lugazi court on Friday denied bail to 2 head teachers on charges of examination malpractice. Siraji Kakomo Musesi, 48 years, of Buvuma College, and Philip Afema Drot, 55 years. The deputy teacher of Yivu Senior Secondary School in Maracha are facing charges of examination malpractice and failing to obey examination regulations. Kakomo, who is the area supervisor, is a resident of Ventura Village, Bude Sub-County in Butambala district, while Afema, who was the chief scout, is the deputy head teacher of Yivu Senior Secondary School in Egamara Parish, Givu Sub-County, Maracha District. Now, during a court session presided over by Grade 1 Magistrate Aisha Nabukeda, Kakomo presented Moses Musisi, the director of Bulo Parents Primary School, Sonko Najib and Sula Serunkuma, both businessmen from Chabadaza in Butambala district, as his sureties for the bail application. FEMA presented Stanley Hubbard, a cousin and a resident of Lugazi, and John Adima, a brother-in-law and a resident of Machinde in Kampala. Prosecution told court that the duo conspired to link the 2018 Uganda Advanced Certificate Education USCE examinations at Buvuma College in Buvuma district. Let's close the news around Uganda from Mukono district, where President Yoweri Museveni has started two demonstration farms dubbed the 4-acre model concept FAMC. The farms, located in the villages of Ranyonyi and Nabitimpa in Namasab County, Mukono district, will teach people modern farming methods with the aim of encouraging profit-oriented agriculture even on small pieces of land. This was revealed by Ronald Chibule, the State Minister for Water and Environment, and also Mukono North Member of Parliament, who represented President Yoweri Museveni during the launch of the two farms on Saturday. He said the president had invested 60 million shillings in the project aimed at fighting household poverty. FAMC is being implemented under the Operation Wealth Creation, where each acre is dedicated to a high-value crop with multiple agriculture activities, including zero grazing and fruit farming. That is it for the news around Uganda. Now let us take a look at the news around East Africa and around the world with Lynn Komjisha.
Hello there, you're watching New Vision TV. This is news around East Africa. My name is Lynn Komjisha. We start off with Tanzania. An outspoken critique of Tanzanian President John Magufuli's missing after being snatched off the road by armed men in the country's far south, the main opposition said Sunday. 4 men wielding guns abducted Ndude Nyagali, a high-profile dissident and opposition activist, as he left his workplace in Mbozi Saturday evening, the Chadema party said in a statement. Witnesses said the 32-year-old screamed for help before being pulled into one of 2 waiting vehicles which sped off. In Kenya, Kenya's modest contribution to the Global Fund, the body that funds HIV, malaria and tuberculosis programs in most of the developing world, and President Uhuru Kenyatta's move to encourage other African governments to contribute, may have softened the body's attitude towards the country, even after adverse mentions in management of the kitty. Global Fund Executive Director Peter Sands has acknowledged that Kenya has had issues in the management of funds allocated to it, but said the body has a positive partnership with the country. In Rwanda, the remains of nearly 85,000 people murdered in Rwanda's genocide were laid to rest Saturday in a somber ceremony in Kigali, a quarter of a century after the slaughter. Mourners sobbed as 81 white coffins containing the remains of 84,437 victims of the 1994 mass killings were buried at the Nyanza Genocide Memorial in the capital. Away from East Africa, we take a look at what's making headlines around the world. Start off with Russia. 41 people on board a Russian Aeroflot passenger plane were killed on Sunday, including 2 children, after the aircraft caught fire as it made a bumpy emergency landing at Moscow airport. Television footage showed the Sukhoi Superjet 100 crash bouncing along the tarmac at Moscow's Sheremetyevo airport before the rear part of the plane suddenly burst into flames. Many passengers on board then escaped via the plane's emergency slides that inflated after the hard landing. The plane, which had been flying from Moscow to the northern Russian city of Murmansk, had been carrying 73 passengers and 5 crew members. No official cause has been given for the disaster. News from China. China on Monday dismissed the suggestion that it would talk with the United States and Russia about a new accord limiting nuclear arms, saying it would not take part in a trilateral nuclear disarmament negotiations. U.S. President Donald Trump said he and Russian counterpart President Vladimir Putin discussed on Friday the possibility of a new accord that could eventually include China in what would be a major deal between the globe's top 3 atomic powers. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Geng Shuang said the country's nuclear forces were at the lowest level of its national security needs and that they could not be compared to the United States and Russia. China believes that countries with the largest nuclear arsenals have a special responsibility when it comes to nuclear disarmament and should continue to further reduce nuclear weapons in a verifiable and irreversible manner, creating conditions for other countries to participate. News from the USA, the Trump administration is deploying a carrier strike group and bombers to the Middle East in response to troubling indications and warnings from Iran and to show the United States will retaliate with unrelenting force to any attack, according to the National Security Advisor John Bolton. With tensions already high between Washington and Tehran, U.S. officials said the deployment has been ordered as a deterrent to what has been seen as potential preparations by Iranian forces and its proxies that may indicate possible attacks on U.S. forces in the region. In Japan, the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and U.S. President Donald Trump are set to talk by telephone Monday and discuss projectiles fired by North Korea. North Korea fired several unidentified short-range projectiles into the sea off its east coast on Saturday, prompting the South to urge its communist neighbor to stop acts that escalate military tension on the Korean peninsula. In UK, the British Prime Minister Theresa May has carried out scenario planning for a second Brexit referendum in case she is forced by Parliament to hold one. May is hoping to find a way to get Parliament to approve a Brexit plan without another public vote, but talks with the opposition Labour Party on a compromise exit strategy have yet to reach an agreement. The Telegraph reported that May had discussions with officials and ministers about holding a referendum that would give voters the choice between leaving the European Union with a deal, living without a deal, or not leaving at all. The report cited unnamed government sources who said the referendum plan would only become relevant if talks with the Labour Party failed and a majority in Parliament supported holding another public vote. Now, news coming in from Palestine. Palestinian officials say a ceasefire with Israel has been agreed to by Hamas and Islamic Jihad. The agreement, reached with the help of Egyptian mediation, was to take effect at 1:30 coordinated universal time. So far, this ceasefire seems to be holding. An exchange of rocket fire and airstrikes has killed 4 Israeli civilians and at least 20 Palestinians since Friday. These are the first Israeli civilian deaths from cross-border fighting since 2014. President Donald Trump says the United States supports Israel 100% as it defends its citizens from Palestinian rocket attacks from Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has ordered the army to keep up massive strikes against Hamas targets in Gaza in the deadliest fighting along the border in 5 years. Palestinian deaths include a 14-month-old baby and her aunt killed by what Hamas calls an Israeli strike. Israeli intelligence says a misfired Palestinian rocket killed them. Neither claim to be verified. News from South Africa. Even with a decisive election victory for South Africa's ruling party this week, the country's President Cyril Ramaphosa could still struggle to push through the tough reforms needed to galvanize Africa's most developed economy, according to analysts and some party insiders. The former union leader turned business tycoon has promised to introduce major economic reforms and extend a crackdown on corruption if his African National Congress parties return to power in Wednesday's national election. Ramaphosa's allies say a result close to 60% in this week's parliamentary vote, which some opinion polls suggest could be possible, would strengthen his hand to deliver on those pledges. That was news around East Africa and news making headlines around the world. My name is Lynn Komjisha. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Lynn. We go straight to the pullouts that are coming out in tomorrow's paper, the Tuesday paper. Tuesday paper has her vision and also the oil and gas journal. Now, from the oil and gas journal, you're going to find agriculture, oil players engage on required goods. We shall also see what farmers, suppliers can do to tap into oil money. Now, from Tilenga project, water demand to hit over 150 billion liters. There are so many stories from the oil and gas journal, so grab your copy of the New Vision on Tuesday and find this there. Then from Her Vision talks about things that inspire women. We have a story which says how to ensure safety at work. Are you a woman? These are some of the tips you need. And we shall also have relationship advice, more counseling, and how best you can keep in shape as a woman. Get those pullouts in the Tuesday paper of the New Vision. Now let us take a look at some sports news. Proline reached the first final of the STANBIC Uganda Cup after their 4-3 victory in sport kicks after a 3-3 draw after both legs with fellow FUFA big league side Chetume. Proline had won the first leg 2-1, managed to go down to the same result in the return leg played Sunday evening at StarTimes Stadium Lugogo before winning it in penalties after 3-3 draw on aggregate. Now, William Blake is the favorite to win the 50cc class in the 4th round of the Mountain Dew National Motocross Championship on Sunday in Garuga, but he will have to sweat to win the event. The class is one of the most competitive and always unpredictable on who will win. Blake faces a tough challenge from Pascal Kasozi, who finished second during the FIM Central Africa Championship on Easter Sunday. Ramadan Mubiru, Ashraf Mbabazi Jr., New Kid on the Block, Zion Wekesa, and the Katende brothers, Jonathan and Miguel. Blake has always had his rivalry with Miguel Katende right from Pee-wee class, and their battle has given fans value for their money. Let's take a look at some international sport. Former Manchester United player Gary Neville has criticized United players for putting up a dismal performance following their 1-1 draw with already relegated side Huddersfield. The result meant that United can finish in the Championship League slots, thus they will be taking part in the Europa League next season. That is it for sports news, and in our Daily Pearl of Africa series, we look at Lake NKUGUTE, which is sometimes called Lake Africa. Now, it is a crater lake located in Rubirizi district in Bunyaruguru County. Besides its amazing additions to the district, its astonishing Africa shape has left many referring to it as Lake Africa. Lake NKUGUTE is associated with many tales, but what a non-resident will tell you after his or her visit is that Uganda is endorsed with incredible features, and this lake is among them. An area view clearly shows an African map, but this is Lake NKUGUTE. This lake is found in Rubirizi district in western Uganda. It is among the 52 crater lakes found in the Bunyaruguru Crater Lakes region in the same district. It is estimated that about 10,000 years ago, the crater lakes in Bunyaruguru Crater Lakes region were formed as a result of volcanic activity. This was intensive heat and pressure in the upper mantle or interior in the earth, which was brought about by geochemical reaction and radioactivity in the earth. After the occurrence of gaseous explosions that blew off the surface rocks, a round-shaped and fairly flat depression was formed. As time went by, rainwater filled the depressions, hence the formation of crater lakes. Unlike other lakes with less vegetation, NKUGUTE is much blessed with crops, eucalyptus trees, and its water is used for various activities by the locals. Some engage in fishing, not forgetting farming. The tourists who come to explore this lake engage in hiking, swimming, and sunbathing. Settlers have also embraced this locality because of its favorable weather. For more Pearl of Africa stories, visit our website, which is newvision.co.ug/Pearl of Africa. Our newspaper, The Sunday Vision, is also another home of adventures. Grab your copy every Sunday for Pearl of Africa stories. Now we speak business in the Handshake with Lynn Komjishe.
Hello there, this is the Handshake here on New Vision TV. Now, the government is to revive the Uganda Commercial Bank. Those of you who were around 2001, I'm sure you remember that it was privatized around that time. Well, I have with me Paul Bushalizi. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So we have seen the revival of the Uganda Airlines. We're seeing now the revival. There's a talk of revival of the commercial bank. What happened?
I think the statement was made by the boss of the National Planning Authority.
Yes.
Who says, I think I had him in another report also saying that there are two options. Either they will merge Post-Bank Housing Finance and Pride Microfinance into one bank, which interestingly was in the President's manifesto in the last election.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a manifesto deliverable. I think they're following up. Or they, since all three entities, even Post-Bank, are profitable, so they might just find a way of recapitalizing them to make them bigger and stronger, whatever they think.
What happened? What has changed? Why now? Why the rush?
Well,
is there excitement?
You know, there's an illusion. There's an illusion by certain people that that we need to own our own things. You see, they're not focusing on the service at the end. They're focusing on ownership, which many times.
Owning?
Well, the government of Uganda, that's what they think. So there's this talk, they have it in their minds that if we own the things, then, like, for example, loans will become cheaper. But that analysis is wrong, because the loans are expensive because the government is borrowing expensively from the public. So government is the safest borrower. That lending to government is a sure deal. The rest of us have risk. So what happens in the banking sector is that if government borrows at, let's say, 10%, then for the rest of you, we'll add a risk of like 3 or 4, 5%.
Yes.
Now, if government borrows at 15%, we can't lend less than government. It just doesn't make sense. So the real question for government is, how do we reduce how much we borrow from the public? And it's down to also the indiscipline, the way they spend money. So even if they bring a bank, let's say they bring a bank and they just decide, which I think they intend to do, just decide we shall lend people at 12%. Still, the difference, the cost has to be borne by somebody. So it be us taxpayers who pay for other people's loans.
But is it necessary now?
Well, I think what is true is that lending rates are high in Uganda.
Yes.
They should be lower. That is true. So one way is, of course, government should lower its demands from the public. Another thing is that government is pretending. Is it? I don't know that it's pretending, or it is. It doesn't know that it has leverage over all these banks as well. So it can do certain things that would make the banks lower their lending costs.
It probably has overshot its ways.
No. The government, in certain people say don't mess with the state. There's a reason people say that. Governments are not, especially the government as it's constructed now in Uganda, it's not a wishy-washy thing. It can actually direct things. It can direct the private sector. And they'll not be reinventing the wheel. They did this in Southeast Asia. People talk about Southeast Asia as if they have places like Japan and South Korea where they have government banks. They really don't. Most of the big banks are private banks. But the government says, excuse me, this is our agenda, this is our development agenda. We tell us what you need to do to go in that direction. We're going to give it to you and you better make sure you go there, otherwise they'll be held to pay. Governments have that power. And it'll be much cheaper than trying to set up a bank themselves. So much cheaper and even probably more efficient.
clearly they need to hire you as an advisor.
No, they won't.
What would they be seeking? What would they be seeking to achieve if they say, like, they propose merge and, you know, come up with one commercial bank?
I think what they're hoping to achieve is to achieve an institution of size, big size. If you bring post-bank microfinance and housing finance together, you have a robust, capitalized financial institution which they think can then compete with the foreign banks, so the STANBICs and the STANCHARTs and the Barclays and all that kind of. That's the idea, and then hoping that they can direct this bank of theirs to do certain things that will also force, like, prices of credit all around to go down.
That makes sense, though. If we look at it, that
it's a good wish, but there are certain things surrounding that environment that you need to take care of. Majorly, of course, being stop borrowing expensively from the public.
It's not like they can help it, can they?
No, they can. They just have to be more disciplined in the expenditure. I mean, why are we having all districts, 168 districts? When they came into power in 1986, there were 41 districts. You've quadrupled the number of districts in the last, for what?
We are trying to get to the people.
And by the way, I'm sure there's a study somewhere shows that we have failed miserably in getting those services we are claiming to get to the people. So,
well, thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
I hope they hire you.
No, they won't.
Thank you, Lynn. Now, in our special report today, Fred Baka Nsubuga was among the Pakasa winners of the year 2018. Despite having a physical disability, he beat odds to run a successful metal fabrication business. New Vision TV caught up with him, and now we have the details. We all dream about being our own bosses, but starting up a business is something that has hindered so many Ugandans. For Fred Baka Nsubuga, tapping into his talent brought him capital that has made him thrive even though he has a natural disability. Let us take a look at his story and see how best we can also learn from him and achieve even better. Fred Nsubuga.
Yes, madam.
It's been nice to see you, to find you here.
Nice to you, madam.
Briefly tell us about yourself.
Yeah, my name's, I'm called Nsubuga Fred Baka. I'm 34 years. I live at Sasi. Yeah, I'm single, but I have one kid.
Okay.
Yeah, briefly I'm that.
Okay, what do you do?
Fred, you see here I'm a graphics designer, and I also do fabrication. That is, in fabrication, there is welding, that is making doors, windows, gates, tank stands, beds, as you will see around. Yeah, still.
Okay. Did you go to university?
Yeah, I went to university.
Where did you learn at the university?
By the university, surprisingly, university, I did a different course, not welding.
What did you do?
I did accounting and finance. Yeah.
How was that shift? Because after in your senior six vacation, you tried graphics designing and you were perfect in it. Then at campus, you went into accounting. How did that shift come about?
By the way, okay, long ago.
Industrial art at campus, right?
It was there. But when I was young, I used to admire those people who work in the bank. Okay. So I grown up, that I had it in my mind. And another factor which led me to do accounting and finance, you know, art is a practical subject. At campus, it requires a lot of work, and it's like they demand a lot of things which you need when you produce when you're going
the final product.
yeah. So that thing also it made me to fear to go.
Industrial art.
Yeah.
So you thought accounting would be better. Less
Because
time always in, you know, class and then library.
just
So you
yeah,
wanted
library, just like handouts, what?
no stress.
Yeah.
So after campus, what did you decide to do? Did you look for jobs?
Yeah, when I finished my final exams, that mostly we finished in May there. So I made a target that between that month, May, and we graduated in January.
Where? Where was campus?
Chambogo. So that time range I made, I said, I said, if I fail to get a job within that time range, then I won't be looking for another. So after my graduation party, I had accumulated some money. I decided to go for that course, graphics. Yeah, I went for it. I studied for 6 months. Even my guide and the parents didn't want it, but for me I decided. By the way, they had told me that why don't you go for ACCA, what? But for me I had seen the challenge of looking for a job, and I decided, because before they used to design for me. Yeah, I could go to someone who is a designer and he is having a computer. He designed for me, I take it to the client. When, after approving, then I print out, then I do other, until when I complete the work and I deliver. So I decided, it used to take me a lot of my time. So I decided I should learn the graphics, then I am able to design for myself.
So between the time when you were, still deciding if I get a job, what were you doing? Were you just staying home, relaxed, as you wait for, a company to call you so that you become the accountant? Or you went back into, a little bit of graphics design since you did it during your senior 6 package?
By the way, by that time, people, they could do, let me say I had a briefcase office. People could just call me to do for them work. Like if someone wants like anything to do, they could go there. We bargain after completing that part, then I get that work.
What happened after the course you went to do on graphics design?
That one, I have a friend, it's called Mayanja Wycliffe. Because me, I still had accumulated some money, but it was not enough to start. So I sat down with him and we started like paperwork, what we want, what we'll be in need of. So he also had some money because like I had like 2.5, he had like a name. So we divided that money, we bought the machines we wanted to start with, even that one for rent. So we opened up our company.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
By then it was a shop.
It was a shop, not a company.
Yeah.
So how was business when you started?
When you're starting is not easy. When you have just started, you have to by then to be to sit and wait. Those like the first months, like even we didn't start from here.
Where did you start?
We started along with Sasubukoto Road. By then we are just doing art.
Just art on the computer?
Yeah, on computer. By afterwards, 2015, we shifted here. Then we included fabrication. Yeah.
How was business then? Were you getting clients? Was the money, too much? How was business at the moment?
It was uneasy for me because I stayed here. We stayed like 1.5 years.
Without making profit?
By these people who branch and come and check on you, they used not to come. Only that I have those ones I had on that side of art. They used to call me and give me, or otherwise I direct those ones to come here. But someone to branch here, it was like almost 1.5 years. But we could also incur those expenses, paying rent, but afterwards we included in new ideas like making beds. When we started making beds, things changed. That way people started coming asking for beds.
Okay, so tell me about the challenges you faced since you officially started in 2015, I should say. How have been the challenges?
The first challenge I have, I got here, the location of the business. You know, we are facing, yes, the main road, but the area is slopey. So like the vehicles, they pass here at a very high speed. So like someone to branch here, it's not easy. By the way, as others complain, they tell me if like you get somewhere or in a junction, they complain about the place. It's not easy because like someone who is going to town, still they pass at a very
the high speed. Okay, location. Any other challenges?
And another challenge I have here, like power problem. The rates at which they charge us is too high. And
Do customers come?
The customers, they come at a slow rate. You need to like to go marketing and advertising. They come slowly. And this business is the season one. So you make sure, like when you make money in this season, you have to save for the other season. There is boom and recession. So you have to be in get.
So it's a seasonal business. Okay, Nsubuga. Naturally, you're not a physically able-bodied person. How have you managed to do things that other people who are, blessed, have actually failed to do? And you sprouted out to, just embrace yourself and, make it happen. How have you done that? How have you managed it?
Also, I was also going to mention that among the challenges I have. People, when you see me at first time, when you have not seen me before, people they do undermine me. They think that I'm not able to do their work, but persistently I've been able to persist in maybe in the market. When what I do, I make some works here. People find them ready. When they are inspired and they ask who has done that work, and they are told I'm the boss here and I'm here. So others, they got consigned, and they do what? They are able to give me work to do for them. But people mostly they do undermine us. When you are disabled, people they think that you cannot do
anything. They think you're unable to do. So basically persistence has helped you. And also recommendations.
By they also being creative, I make unique products like beds, like the stands, shoe rack, even gates, and creativity.
Okay. Yeah. So Nsubuga, we've had challenges. You've sprouted out. What are the benefits you've acquired from this year?
The first benefit, I've been able to get income for surviving. Yeah. Okay. And I've been able even earning. I've been for the essential things. I'm able.
Well, to get them for yourself.
Another one. I've been able I've been connected to people, to able people. I talk to my clients who are able, the headmasters, those big businessmen. I'm able
been exposed.
I've got that exposure.
That is nice. So how many people do you employ here?
Okay, I have 9 people, but still I source. It depending on the skill I want to add in that work I want to produce. Those ones I have their contacts, but the one I work with every day they are 9.
In a country with the highest rate of unemployment, tapping into your own talent is something that you should think about now. For Nsubuga, is now a metal fabricator, having had a dream of being an accountant one time. It is his talent that has made him thrive even when he has a disability. I am Ruth Inaseje, reporting for New Vision TV. That is all I had for you. Thank you for watching. Be sure to catch more news updates and other programs here on New Vision TV by visiting our website, which is newvision.co.ug/video. You can follow us on social media. Facebook is The New Vision, Twitter is @NewVisionWire, Instagram is @NewVisionWire, and our YouTube channel is New Vision TV. Catch up with me on my Twitter handle. I am Ruth, the Voice. Thank you for watching. We close with a fact file of Kabalore District.